This is a question from Lisa. She said, my question is about forgiveness and letting go of resentment towards someone who has deeply hurt her and her family. She said, I know why it's good for me to forgive and let go, but I don't know how when my marriage and family has been broken apart through ultimately no fault of her own. Anger and resentment make it difficult to move forward, yet I don't think we can really pretend we don't feel what we feel. That's so true, Lisa. The first step in the healing process is to have a safe, sacred space to process all of the feelings that come with this experience that you dealt with. I come from a town, I live in a town right now and work in a town where there was a mass tragedy. And that question of how do I forgive? How do I not hold on to resentment has been asked many times to me. And it's hard. It's really hard. And when we have an understanding that the person that has injured others has their own injury, there is some unresolved trauma that bleeds out onto others. It kind of helps put it a bit in perspective. And so your question of how do I let go of the resentment, hard to do. It's almost human nature for that incident that you experienced to be almost concretized into your brain. And yet you've already seen how it interferes with your own peace and happiness that is your birthright, right? So I'm going to give you a little metaphor that I work with my clients with called the forgiveness bridge. And there, on one side of the bridge is the judging of others who have caused the trauma, the blaming and the shaming, right? That kind of self-righteousness feeling that we have where we um, expected that person to be different than who they are. And the reality is, if they could have been different, they would have. But based on their life experiences, the decisions that they made were an outcome, were a result of their subconscious programming from childhood. So as we begin to consider that, we slide over the forgiveness bridge into a place of acceptance. And acceptance is where in our mind we get this. We understand that this person's choices were just unable to be anything different. Then we're invited to move to allowing, right? So when we move from the acceptance from the mind to allowing the situation to be, and that's coming from the heart, right? That's a whole nother level of acceptance. That I allow this experience to have existed in my life. The third stage of forgiveness is appreciation, and that is a hard one to get to. I often face clients that say they just can't get there. And I'm not saying to be appreciative of the events that happened, but instead to look at the gift wrapped in thorns. What can come from this experience that can help you grow? Maybe it's unconditional acceptance, patience, tolerance. There's some character trait, some attribute that is being birthed through you, through this experience. I invite you to consider how can you become that better version of yourself through this experience. I hope this was helpful.